Hi, this is Garibay, and today I want to talk about Vivek Ramaswamy, and I want to talk about the brilliant film Wonka with Timothee Chalamet, and I want to talk about the political speech that is in this film, and specifically the political action it calls for in context to Vivek Ramaswamy. I want to talk about how he can use this film to win the 2024 U.S. presidency and what wisdom it has in for him, what wisdom it contains for him to run America. Like what actions can he take from it? So brilliant film, and it has a lot of political speech in it. Where is that political speech focused? Just one of the areas that the political speech is focused is on American commerce. Okay. So there's a lot of business in this movie, and this movie is fundamentally about a business. It's about a small business trying to compete not with an enterprise, but with a cartel. And they actually use that term in the film. They call them the chocolate cartel, right? And that's the wisdom in the film. So let's talk this through. So first of all, spoilers for Wonka here. And this is a brilliant film that has a lot to say about American commerce. All right, so let's dig into this. So first of all, the great thing about Vivek Ramaswamy is that he can sit down and think exactly the way President Obama sat down and thought. President Obama talked about this. He's like, I need time to sit down and actually consider all the things that are happening. And if I don't push off the people who schedule me and my team, I won't get that time. I need time to pursue silence, pursue solitude for a moment, right? Think through the problems that the nation is facing, and then come up with a solution, something that's going to help the American people. And I voted for Obama twice, and this was why. He was a sit and think president. Okay. Now, what's interesting is a lot of people complain that there isn't bipartisanship. There's massive bipartisanship, and there's more bipartisanship right now than there ever has been before. Both the Democrats and the Republicans have decided to do the same thing. They are both supplying you with gerontocracy, with their establishment candidates, with President Biden and President Donald Trump. And they're both decided that you deserve a sit and sign president. Neither one of these presidents has any ability to sit down and think the way Obama did. Can you imagine an 80-year-old man sitting down and thinking? What is that thought going to be? Is it going to be, oh, how do I solve the Israel-Hamas issue, right? No, it's going to be, where are my glasses? Where are my medication? Where is my walker? Where is my blanket? Oh, and now I'm napping. And that's okay because they're 80, right? Like, that's not like, that's why we literally pay 80-year-old people to not work and sit on a porch and sip sweet tea, right? Like, not to wrestle with the greatest problems of the nation, right? So this is the thing. Vivek can actually use the power of the presidency. This is very real, right? Like, and very distinct and unique, right? Like, this is a very important, real issue, right? So let's talk this all the way through, right? So what can he do? So this film perfectly aligned the American commerce issues. We currently have three types of businesses we have three types of commerce organizations in America. Okay, the first is a business. Okay, now, and here's the thing: Vivek Ramaswamy can do this. He could say, listen, going forward, I'm going to talk about three types of commerce organizations in America. When I say business, I mean small business. When I say enterprise, I mean an organization that is at scale and doing good commerce in America. And last, I'm going to start using the term cartel. That is a commerce organization that is at scale, okay, and doing evil, right? And Vivek can do this. He can actually define the language, right? He could define the language of he could literally define the language that is used to shape American commerce, right? And this is perfectly deployed in the film, right? In Wonka. Willy Wonka is a small business. and he wants to compete with enterprises, right? Now he literally doesn't have a chocolate shop, and he's selling chocolate on the streets, right? And he doesn't have good distribution, and he's a strong salesperson. And he's literally the best chocolate maker in the world, but he has a terrible distribution. He has terrible logistics, right? He has problems sourcing his materials, and he has problems literally getting the product to the customer, right? And so in the movie, they show all this struggle and strain that he goes through to do this because he's a small business, right? And Vivek Ramaswamy could say, hey, I want to help small businesses, right? And then in addition to that, there are perfectly shown enterprises. So what is the enterprise that shown in the film? So Willy Wonka arrives on this specific city, right? They don't say it's London. It's like kind of a conglomerate of European cities, right? And so his dream city, right, that he arrives in, which is part Paris, part London, part Berlin, right? He arrives here on a passenger cargo ship, right? And that passenger cargo line, this line of ships goes back and forth to other nations and carries passengers and carries cargo, okay? And this becomes very important in the film, right? And you're like, well, why is that important in the film? And the reason why is this isn't like they literally show the captain get off and deal with the wharf master. He pays taxes and fines, right? And make sure that his ship is up to date. He obeys the laws, but his business is not like Willy Wonka's business. It's at scale. He runs multiple cruises. He runs multiple trips to other nations and back, and there are multiple ships. This is an enterprise, right? So this is a large commerce organization that is obeying the laws and is functionally good for the people, right? And I would say today in America, you already know an example of a small business. You know, like it's the donut shop that's not a chain that you go to, or the coffee shop, or the bookshop, right? I don't need to give you, an example. You definitely, and really, I shouldn't even be able to give you an example because it should be local to you, right? Then enterprises would be Walmart, Target, and Amazon. All of these organizations give good pay and good opportunities to literally millions of people, and they are enterprises, right? Last is the chocolate cartel in the Wonka film, right? And the chocolate cartel is 3 organizations, all that make chocolate, that have engaged in price fixing, okay, and gone much farther than that, and have decided, and weekly pay cash and chocolate to actually they pay in chocolate, because the chief of police, and they're running a scam. They're using the law to specifically make obstacles for small businesses that try to sell chocolate, right? So, and also they contract to murder people, right? Like, that's a cartel, and we have them we have them below the southern border, right? In every debate, every candidate has said, they farbargled around and they're going to find out, right? Like, and literally every single Republican candidate in the debates that matters is like, oh yeah, we're definitely going to use the military to deal with the cartels, right? Now, what I'm saying right now is that Vivek Ramaswamy can do one better, and what he can do is use the power of the presidency. Many people will tell you that the president is not powerful and cannot change things in America. Whenever you hear that come out of somebody's mouth, shout in your mind, not to them, fool. That is the most ridiculous, foolish idea, and it is just a shocking misunderstanding of history, right? Like, President Kennedy was like, hey, I want to be on the moon. He said it in 1963. We were on the moon in 1969. He made the moon a reality in 6 years, right? The idea that a president can't point and America do is absurd, right? And only the most base fools ever say that, right? And you should be on the watch out for fools, right? Because you shouldn't listen to them, right? Or you can listen to them and make sure you say, okay, how can I counter what they're saying? It's another way you can go. I get it, right? All right. So basically, what Vivek Ramaswamy can do is he can label organizations cartels, right? And I think this is something like we needed President Biden to say, you know what, crypto, SBF's, Sam Bankman-Fried's organization is a cartel. I believe they're engaged in, and actually he doesn't have to, he could just say, Sam Bankman-Fried's cartel, and he just needs to say cartel. He doesn't need to accuse them of anything. He immediately communicate, like President Biden could have immediately communicated to the American people, this organization is rank evil, just straight evil, right? And as soon as he says it, the media will do the rest of the work. Or they're like, oh my gosh, did you hear President Biden say that Sam Bankman-Fried's organization is a cartel, right? Like, and then you're like, oh, did I say cartel? Yeah, I don't think it's appropriate to use the term enterprise for what he's engaged in, right? There was that lady recently who, there's lots of examples of this in America. There was a lady recently who was like, give me a single drop of your blood and I'll tell you your entire and we'll be able to help your health issues, right? And you're like, that don't work. Like, that's not what science is. And there was hecka clues way before she reached, and this is my point. We can use, right? We could specifically use this word to jump forward and not have to wait months or years for the courts to really come in and do what everybody already knows, right? Like, our court system is failing to do swift and speedy trials. I don't think it's done a swift or speedy trial in 50 years, right? And so this would be a way for Vivek Ramaswamy, and then there was other ones. There was a specific family who sold this one drug, which was literally killing people by the tens, if not hundreds of thousands a year, right? And everybody knew it, right? And the president can come in and say, oh, do you mean that cartel, XYZ cartel? And just say, hey, everybody, step back. Do not engage with this group, right? And it's a way to get in and save Americans from these horrible cartels, right, that are running in our own nation, right? And here's the thing, Biden had no ability to do it because he can't even, Biden can't finish sentences. Like, the idea that he's governing is ludicrous at this point. He's a sit and sign president. We all know it. And what's about to happen is we're about to get our first Republican sit and sign president, and that is a serious problem. Like, that is very, very bad and very worrisome because we can't have 8 years of sit and sign presidents in a row. And we cannot allow both parties to say no leader for you. Like, we're going to plop somebody in a seat, but you're not actually going to have a leader, right? You're like, nah, man, this ain't cool. Like, we actually need a leader in the president who can jump over microphone wires, and even more than that, sit down and literally think out a plan. Like, this is not cool. We're not going to take this from both parties, right? And both parties are saying no leader for you. And that is unacceptable. Absolutely abominably unacceptable, right? So this would be something that Vivek Ramaswamy can use the power of the presidency in ways that no other president has ever used it, right? It will take courage. It will take discernment. It will take wisdom. Vivek Ramaswamy has all of those: courage, discernment, and wisdom, right? And what about President Trump? No. Well, actually, I don't even need to entertain the idea that Biden has courage, wisdom, or discernment. Like, it's clear as day because we're living through a hexscape because he doesn't have those. But it's worth asking, does President Donald Trump? He used to have courage. He doesn't anymore. Didn't have courage to show up to the debates, right? He certainly, President Donald Trump never had discernment. And President Donald Trump never had wisdom, right? So that's the breakdown. But Vivek Ramaswamy does. Vivek Ramaswamy is the correct choice for 2024. Make sure you are preparing now to vote for Vivek Ramaswamy for president for 2024, and that you reach everybody you possibly can and tell them to do the same. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.